Morning, how's everybody? 20 past 8. It's a beautiful day actually. Okay, so I often do one-to-ones, investment one-to-ones, 2 or 3 times a week with personal investors or private investors who want to invest in property, maybe pensions, maybe stocks, maybe shares. They're not really sure what to do, but they know they want to do something. But they don't know how to do it and they don't know where to start the journey. So I do that 2 or 3 times a week. And I think everybody's quite surprised actually when I say, yeah, I'm happy to do a wee Zoom with you. It's like, what? Really? I didn't expect that. Because they're all apologetic when they come on. And I kind of think the only way you're going to learn is to learn from somebody that possibly you might want to be in their shoes, if that makes sense. I mean, if I want to be, for example, if you want to be a billionaire, I tell you what, just look at all the billionaires, find out what they did to be a billionaire and their mentality and their attitude to be a billionaire and emulate their success. Even if you get a fraction of that, you'll be a millionaire. And that's the concept. And when we spoke initially, this investor yesterday, he said to me, look, you know, it's going to be a couple of years before I buy any property, to be honest. He says, because I don't really have anything to put down, I don't have anything to invest, I'm not really sure what I'm doing. Morning, Grant. But after the conversation, it became quite apparent that he had a property, his own house, and then he also had a second property which he uses for his work, because he works somewhere else, but he uses that during the week to stay in. So when did you buy this property then? Oh, I bought it about 3 or 4 years ago. All right, okay. So what did you buy it for? Oh, I bought it for 80,000. Oh, okay. Let's have a quick look at the instant valuation tool, just to see where we are with that. So we put all his details in instant valuation tool, and it came back, top end, 152,000, bottom end, 125,000. Wow. So if this is right, and I've told him to contact a local estate agent to make sure, obviously, so he knows. If this is right, then he does have equity sitting in an existing house that he can actually get a further advance on, and he could use it to reinvest. And then it brought me onto the concept of, when we talked about it a wee bit more, I've been hearing it loads and loads of times where people say the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. And I kind of think, is that just a get out clause for people that just don't want to do it and don't want to work at it in order to achieve some sort of success, to just to say, I'm in my comfort zone? It's like, you know, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, and that's all it is. It's down to a matter of, you know, wealth and money. Well, it's not. The rich get richer, and I've analysed this and I've studied this for the past 30 years, and I've read so many books about successful people that are way beyond the realms of, well, I'm not going to say that actually, the realms that I could ever get, because, you know, I'm working towards that anyway. Again, if even if I get a fraction of what they've got, wow. So, the reason that the rich get richer, and I'd be interested to hear other people's comments, remember, some of the rich get richer because they're dishonest. But that's the minority that actually appear in the news, and everybody believes that's what everybody else is like that are rich. Well, it's not the case. There's a few people that it ends up catching up on them, and then they lose it all anyway. I was looking at the money laundering yesterday, and all the people that are banned, I've got sanctions against them on the money laundering from the government and the crime unit, and it's like, it's all Russians. And that's the people that comes round. What goes around comes round, and it does genuinely. So why does the rich get richer and the poor get poorer? And fundamentally it could be summed up in one sentence: because they keep doing the same things. If you're going to continue to do what you're doing and expect for a difference or a change in where you are, but you're going to do the same thing day in, day out, well, you're just going to get the same result every single day. It's never going to change for you. The rich get richer because they do the things that made them rich in the first place. The poor get poorer because they continue to do the things that make them poor in the first place. And in order to change that mindset, you have to understand your preconditioning, pre-programming. You've had as a child when you were born, and how that's all changed you and changed your mindset over the years. And it takes a long time of social conditioning to understand and get over that hurdle. It's taken me years, and it still takes me time now to keep thinking past this. And actually it's reading the right books, it's speaking to the right people and associating with the right people as well, and getting the right knowledge of the right people. That's what set me free. But continually, wee doubts pop into your mind. And one of them the other day was, a classic example is, I'm not gonna borrow money from my house to invest in property because I might lose it. Well, wait a minute. It's no gambling. You're taking a further advance of your existing house, which isn't making money for you, to buy another house, to invest in, to make money for you. So, is it safe as houses? Yeah, absolutely. So you're not doing anything other than actually just redirecting funds into a different allocation in order to increase your wealth. Hence the reason why we spoke about, did you realise your second home actually has a bit more equity in it? So you could actually get a further advance on it, and then you could put a deposit down on a second house, and then you could rent that and make money off of that, but you could put a 25% loan to value. And we'll look through the numbers, 3.74% interest only for the next 5 years where the mortgage works on a limited company. And when we looked at the numbers, he was looking at a net return, passive, of just over 10%. And he's a way to investigate it and look at if that's an opportunity. But I then told him about the things that I did in the early days. I was getting 100% funding for the banks. And what I was doing is I was using my existing investments as security. So the investments were still always making money, and I never cashed them in. I just used them as security to get 100% funding, because the bank said, well, I tell you what, if we did cash these in and it came worst to worst, we would actually get about 20 to 25% of that money back. So that's effectively what your deposit is on your house. So we're happy to give you 100% funding. Now, you have to get the right people to do that. But again, it's understanding that mentality, and it's understanding that focus. And if you're not in the zone, you just won't see it. It's almost like you're blinkered to the whole thing. And that's why it takes someone else that's possibly in the zone to actually see it. You can't see the forest for the trees, there's an expression. That's so apt here. Can't see the forest for the trees. And you can't, because you've never done this before, and you've never invested in property before, or you've never seen bigger than what you can do just now. Oh, I've only got 1 or 2 properties. Yeah, guess where I started? 0. I actually said to somebody the other day, I actually started at 18 years old, at homeless and unemployed. I bet you a lot of people didn't know that. Homeless and unemployed at 18 years old. That was me. I remember actually saying to Fife Council, how am I going to furnish my house? I have got no money to furnish it. And I had to actually hand back my council house and then go into private rented accommodation. But it taught me a lot of lessons. So that's what I was saying about the rich get richer because they keep doing the same things, poor get poorer because they keep doing the same things. And I had to change my mindset from when I was a young age and get over my preconditioning and pre-programming that you've always had. It's just a safety mechanism that your parents put, oh, watch what you're doing, or be careful, or you might lose everything. And it's like, oh my God, these are people that I've trusted all my life. It's like, is this going to affect me? Is this true? And then you get that continual fear. I remember when I bought my first flat, and I was about to invest in property investment, and 2 doors up or 3 doors up was a guy, and I kind of respected him. He was an elder, and I didn't know anything better at the time. And I remember discussing with him, and this was at 18 years old. This is way before I actually got started in property investment. And I said to him, I was thinking about investing in property. Oh, you didn't want to do that, son. It's like, oh, I've tried that about 5 years ago. Oh dear, and it's like, oh, I lost money, and the house got wrecked, and everything like that. And it's like, I believed that person because I believed he had. I should have noticed, because he was driving about in a second-hand car and he was in a 2-bedroom flat. That maybe could have told me everything, but I didn't know to look out for that at the time, and look at people and say, well, where are you just now? And is that what I really want? And if it's not what I want, why should I be listening to you? That's another thought process about rich get richer and poor get poorer. And then the other one is, they keep doing the same things at either end. But fundamentally, and I heard it from Mark Higgins the other day and Gary Vee, they were talking about chaos and everything like that, and how they invest in long term, but they don't actually know exactly the map at where they're going, but they know it's going to be a winner, so they work towards it and they do the daily steps towards that goal. But then it came up again in conversation, and the wealthy people, and this is classic, and this is the one thing you've always got to remember. As soon as somebody that's wealthy gets money, the first thing they do is go, what could I invest in? It makes me more money. And then if they've got anything left, they then go, okay, so what can I buy? Just as a, something, a novelty, or can I go out for a meal or something like that? What the not so wealthy people do, as soon as they get money, I'm going to buy a car, I'm going to go on a holiday, I'm going to give money away to somebody else, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And then they look at what they've got left and they go, I've not got very much left. Oh, to hell with it, I'll just keep it in the bank. And it's the same amount of money. That's the reality. It's the same amount of money. However, the wealthy person invests it straight away, and then what he's got left, if he or she's got left anything, then they go and do something nice with it. The not so wealthy person immediately goes, what can I go on a spending spree to buy everything they can get? And they don't realise actually it's the mindset. That's all it comes down to. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on this, and what your thoughts on why the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. And we know the classic example is, because they're all cheats and liars and thieves and all the rest of it, but that's not true. The majority of people actually run proper businesses and they look after everybody. But lovely day. Bye-bye for now, guys.